Hi guys, I'm going live from inside the car. No, it's not going to work, is it? Do my best over here. See if anybody can hear me, anybody coming on. And then I'll start talking about a couple of these little things that have come up today. Thanks, Cass. This will be, thanks, Maddie. This will be an interesting one because I noticed the mood lighting. Okay, it's because hi Georgie Tegan joining the I'm between between events, and they weren't terribly focused about anything except my daughter's access to a cheerleading thing. So anyway, here I am sitting in a car park doing my live. So they've just got a couple of things to bounce over, and I guess I may as well just kick onto this straight away because people will start listening to it later. I think we've got a collectively as a sector, we've got to start patting ourselves on the back a bit and starting to promote the positive aspects of what we do. They've found a monster in Victoria. Just found a creature. But there's 280,000 people working in this sector, and everyone's not a pedophile. Okay, there's 18,500 services, and 18,500 services don't have a pedophile in every service. And there's hunting that's going on at the moment to try and we have fielded so many problems for service providers. I've got services who have had parents put petitions together and say, if you don't kick these males out of your service, then we're all leaving. Horrendous stuff. So ignorant, This guy was a monster, right? He's not an educator. Educators don't do that. It's as simple as that. And it's not as much as I don't want to terrify everybody, it's like there's an old saying, it's not the monster you catch that's the problem. It's the ones you haven't caught yet. Okay, and what this highlighted, I think, is our need to be more vigilant, more focused on making sure we check everything on the way in. And this alleged person was basically walking into places doing casual work or coming in through agencies. And we rely on these organisations, we rely on agencies, for example, to be people with integrity who check everything through. And maybe they do, maybe they don't, but this slipped through. And so we can't rely on that. My artificial lighting source, which is my dashboard, just switched off. But the reality is that we have to check this, we have to know these things. We have to start talking to our parents about what we do and why it's how we make sure the children are safe. We need to be vigilant. Everybody needs to be vigilant. It's funny too that I mentioned to someone the other day that based on our circumstances, which is we get at least probably averages at about 2 calls a week, where an educator has used inappropriate language. They've inappropriate discipline of a child, dragged them by the arm, hit them, slapped them, pushed them over, force-fed them food. We get everything, okay? And based on, if you extrapolate out the 1,400 odd members that we've got, and how many times we get those complaints, I reckon I'm not far off when I say we get about 1,300 of those sorts of situations happen every year in Australia nationally. All right? We've got one pedophile. We've got 50 of these events, every 20 or 30 of these events every week all over Australia. All right? That's the problem. And even though everybody keeps running in circles, talking about all the different ways we're going to fix it, the bottom line now is that it comes down to training and availability, and people who are not committed to the early childhood education sector, they're just using it as a stopgap. And we need to try and do something about that. We've got to fix the training. We've got to fix the integrity of the people that we're employing. Putting up cameras everywhere. Cameras are not a bad thing, and try not to put them into a system where they're being monitored somewhere else, because then you've got another source of access to the service. So a couple of years ago in Melbourne, we dealt with a service. They had 3 pedophile rings all online to their computer system. So have an isolated one, and horrifying stuff are happening with these systems too, because people are going out looking for CTV to put in their services. And thanks very much to I spoke to one of our members, Joe, today, and he's got a couple of services. He's got cameras in a couple of services, but one didn't have service and didn't. So I went to the guy that he usually goes to and says, look, I need cameras in this one too, and can you give me a price? And he's an electrician that he uses too. So there's a connection, all right? There's a person of integrity. Okay, fine. We've got a relationship. So it gives him a price of, somewhere around $11,000 to do this service. Okay, fine. So Joe, being Joe, I'm being nice Joe, he gets some alternative quotes too, just to make sure that he's being sensible. So another organisation comes in and they're whiz-bang beautiful. Yes, we're doing this for childcare centres all over the place, and yeah, we're great. $20,000, twice the price. So there's people out there now are price gouging to set up safety equipment on the back of the fact that they've had a pedophile in a service that gave a bunch of, that allegedly gave a bunch of children chlamydia. Can you believe that? What sort of people are these? It staggers me, just staggers me. So yes, cameras are a good idea. Make sure you've got a policy in place for it. There's some states you can even record sound. But others you can't. But you can certainly keep that footage, keep it inside. But it is not proactive. It is reactive. It is recording things, unless you've got someone sitting down watching it all the time. And then of course you've got the other side of it. There's various parties have been calling for some sort of national system of monitoring. How the hell are you going to do that in 18,000 services who are all going to end up having on average probably about 10 cameras? Are you serious? 180,000 screens. We're going to get someone to watch that. You can't. And the thing that really concerns me is that pedophilic type people love a challenge. They are not stupid people. They are not people who wear grey raincoats and live in caravans parked behind service stations on the highway. That's not what they are, right? They're intelligent people. They use the black web for moving stuff around. They work in groups. You watch this one guy that's been caught. There'll be others caught as well. It'll be part of a group. They work in little nests. And, there's a whole bunch of data about that. You're just putting challenges in front of them, and they'll work around the cameras, or they'll go to services that don't have cameras. That won't fix it. And they're aiming at the wrong thing. We need to train our people better. We need to monitor them better, right? Everybody keeps talking about bringing in new regulations. We're regulating this, we're regulating that. You know what that's going to do? It's going to push the price up. It's going to be the cost of operating service is going to go up. And then they're going to yell at us because it's gone up. And 70% of all early childhood education in Australia is provided by the private sector, right? And last time I checked, that was in the middle of COVID. There was, on average, about. Oh, no, I'm not even going to say it because it's a ridiculous figure. It was nothing. It was like 25 community-based early childhood facilities were set up every year. 25. The rest of them, thousands of them, are all private sector. Because the government isn't investing any money in community-based early childhood education. They're not. And they're not supporting the sector at all, in my view. But anyway, I'm raving again, and I wanted this to be a happy thing. So that's why we asked people to give us happy thoughts. And I think a lot of people said, well, I'll give you a happy thought. I'm going home this afternoon to get drunk. But no, not really. Some of the things I wanted to mention, just one last housekeeping type thing is, where did I put that document? Just be careful with, there's a bunch of services running around at the moment going, oh, we need to have a, hang on, no, it's not there. I've got to find this thing now. That's Maddie's staff. That's not it. There's a lot of services running around at the moment trying to do things like set up policies whereby they don't employ males or they restrict what males are doing. I cannot think of a more dangerous place to be than doing something like that. And the reason being that you've got a whole lot of... sorry, I'm just still trying to find this bloody thing. Where is it? No, it's not there. I can't find my note. Never mind. Oh, is it? No. No. I can't find it, but anyway, I'll have to ad-lib it. The point you've got to watch out for is that we employ educators. We don't employ men. We don't employ women. We employ educators, and educators are trained to apply a range of skills to get their work done. Now, what we need to do is make sure that we, as much as possible, and I've had this out with a male educator years ago, when I said to him, you've got to make sure that you are never in a place where you're out of sight of a camera or you're out of sight of another educator, all right? And do not go in and do nappy changes without somebody else with you, and never be on your own anywhere with a child. And he told me he thought that was discriminatory, and I laughed a lot and said, suck it up, sunshine. Women have been putting up with discrimination for thousands of years. You're playing to the wrong audience. You're just not going to get the sympathy. But the problem is that services are being pushed into this position by parents. Now, what you have to do is start looking at making sure that the males are protected because they make a valuable contribution. We can't go discriminating against them because we've got the anti-discrimination legislation, and there's also the very principles of equity between people. We've just gone through these massive cases looking at work value. That there is a higher work value for early childhood educators. They didn't say that it's a higher value for male educators or for female educators. It's just for educators. So anyway, I'll get away from that and I'll go back to the purpose of today, which was Happy Day Friday, which is, I think Maddie keeps sending me messages. I think she's subtly trying to remind me of these things. See, if it was Cassie, she'd just throw something at me. But never mind. Look, there's a couple of things here, and they're just really nice little things, because we want to start doing this on a regular basis. We as a sector, all right, we need to start looking after each other, and we need to start celebrating what we do, right? Because we do it well. We're one of the best early childhood education systems in the world, all right? We are. And we do it well, and we don't need to be pulled down. If there's things need to be changed, we are the sector that changes. That's what we do. Look at what we did during COVID. We just made it work. All right, the government didn't know what to do, but we did. All right, we made it work. So that's why everybody has to pat each other on the back, I think. And so I've got a couple of little things here I wanted to read, which is just stuff that's come in from some of the services. This probably come in from Betty. Anyway, she basically said that we were advised today that we're a finalist in the Local Business Awards after winning the Early Childhood section of the Australian Small Business Awards earlier this year. I give credit to my amazing team. Isn't it good when you can say that about your people? 15 diploma qualified, 2 bachelor qualified, and 7 Cert 3s. We have always been digital free, except for a sign-in pad. Have a happy Friday, everyone. And, you know, I just think that's such a lovely thing that they're digital free. That's there. And a lot of services do these things. And I want to start showcasing that a lot of services do things that are really quite, left of centre. They don't do things the same way as everybody else. They run project systems rather than portfolio systems. And these guys, no digital. That's quite amazing. Another one, I laughed at this. It was so funny. This is from Kim. And does the fact that we just had our 8th team member this year announce their pregnancy count as a win? That means that what sort of in a date are we? No, there must be something in the water. It's usually Christmas parties. Watch the Christmas parties. Don't put alcohol on and don't invite partners. I think that's funny. That's so great because have you noticed how funny it is that you always end up with clusters of people going off pregnancies? There's never one here, one there. They come in groups. It's like they've all got together and had a lunch or something and decided that's what they're going to do. I think it's really curious how that always lines up. Liana, thanks very much for this too, because she wanted to give a shout out. I can't say his name, but anyway, he's from a first aid company, and she said that she's never laughed as much during a CPR training course. I don't think anybody laughs during CPR training, do they? That they had tonight, and what a joy to receive training from such an amazing human being who was able to make it light. And I think that's really important too. And there's a really good one here that I'll get Maddie to put the link up, because they're it's because they're coming into NAIDOC week. We're entering our collaborative artwork into the curriculum NAIDOC week competition, inspired this year by the theme the generation. Right, strength, vision, and legacy, which is such a wonderful way to approach it. And they've done what they've done is, and I can't really show you at the moment, but they've done a tree. Basically, they've designed this tree, and the tree tells a meaningful story. The roots represent legacy, with the children's drawings of families, ancestors, and those who have come before us. The trunk reflects the strength. Painted in 3 sections that represent the developing dreams, core values of relationships, well-being and growth, and the leaves made from the children's fingerprints, symbolise vision and unique potential of the next generation. A unique potential of the next generation. I like that better than everybody being whinging and complaining about the possibility of AI eating us all alive. But the potential of the next generation. And we'd love your support. Vote for our artwork by clicking the below link. And Maddie, can you put the link up and the picture and stuff? I'm sure she would look. She's probably done it already, just didn't tell me. But I just think those things are beautiful. And these are the things that we need to be promoting. And, it's that, the other thing is that I said it before, I'll reiterate again, it's the importance to note that any gender-based practices must be carefully considered against anti-discrimination laws and the principle of equal opportunity employment. There's been moves around where people have gone and employed, they're saying to parents, males can't change nappies. Yeah, they can. It's discriminatory. All right, to say they can't. There's, or we're letting parents pick and choose who changes the nappy. My God, I can't imagine how hard that'll be to manage. What if they want someone from a different room? Oh no, it's got to be this room. Oh, what do you do with that, honestly? Now, the problem you have too with any staff member, if you prevent them from plying their trade, all right, doing what they're trained to do, some aspect of it, in the common vernacular, and the Fair Work Commission is called de-skilling. All right? You can't get a teacher, sit them in the corner and say, your job now is to get me cups of tea. All right? You can do that for a bit, and if they continue to stay, you're effectively de-skilling them because they can't apply their own skills that they have studied to achieve, right? De-skilling is the worst thing. You get done with that in the Fair Work Commission, they will buy themselves a brand new nail gun and nail you to the wall. It is, you can't de-skill people. You end up with fines and all sorts of stuff. Now, if we start saying to male educators, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that over there, I dread to think where this will end. So we employ educators. Some of them are male, some of them are female. We can appreciate and recognise the positive impact that male educators have in children's development, and the importance of supporting their participation in early childhood settings. I just think that's the critical issues. Okay, I got nothing else to say. Okay, we'll run this again. We'll keep running on Fridays, but also in terms of the 5% wage increase on the 1st of August that's preferred by the Commission, we should know about that on Tuesday. So I'll be hooking up for that, and then after we find out from that, I'll go live again and we'll tell everybody about that, whether it applies or not, or put out just a big banner if the Commission says no, you're just going to pay it. So then we'll let everybody know, and then we'll have to set up a new schedule sheet for the IFA people. Oh no, we won't, because the old one will still apply because you'll absorb the 5. Okay. Nothing else to say except I'm so happy to be working in the sector and be involved with so many people who are dedicated to what they do and love what they do, will do what they do till the end of time, and half of them would do it for half the money they get. Service providers, 70% of the sector, private, okay? And the government's kicking us. I don't get it. Anyway, love yous all. Have a great weekend. Love the one you're with, and have a great time. And I'll see you next week. Okay. Sorry about this. The mood lighting, it just didn't quite work, did it? You have to try these things though. You have to try them. Okay. See you later, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.